Greetings in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, Melech of Yasharal, Kohen forever according to the order of Melchizedek. All esteem, honor, and glory unto our YAHUAH. Hallelujah unto YAHUAH Kodesh name. My name is Mikael Shalomo, and I just want to talk about Yasharal's covenant with YAHUAH. So I've been reading Yeshayahu and Yeremiah, and the prophets, they basically talk about, well, I don't want to say basically talk about, but they mention things about having a covenant or Yasharal's covenant with YAHUAH. And it's something that's very, very different from what we see from so-called righteous people these days, right? Now, the thing I want to talk about concerning the covenant is that it is to be respected. Your covenant with YAHUAH is to be respected at all times. The Torah is supposed to be respected. You're supposed to have that reverence with YAHUAH, right? You're supposed to fear YAHUAH. You're supposed to fear going against his word, his Sefer, his Torah. Things that he commanded for us to do and the way we should live is something to be revered, because it's not something to be afraid of, but it is something to uplift us, right? We're not supposed to be like the other nations. We're not supposed to walk in certain countenances and under certain orders, right? We're supposed to walk under the Torah, his instructions. So righteous people these days, right? Or people, let's say people in the church, they basically have this, what could I say, this understanding or this theory of grace, right? Which was, these are things mentioned by the disciples, right? So church people basically break all kind of commandments, and then they turn around and they ask for forgiveness, right? Knowingly breaking these commandments. For instance, the Shabbat. They believe that the Shabbat is on a different day than it should be. And a matter of fact, they don't even know how to calculate the Shabbat, because these other nations who supposedly follow the Shabbat are not calculating the Shabbat correctly. So it's all kind of falsehoods that we live in today, right? But let's just stick to some of the other commandments, right? Like bearing false witness. That's a easy one, right? A lot of people do this, especially at their job, right? People bear false witness all the time. You know, like if they get in trouble with a supervisor or something like that, you probably blame somebody else for your wrongdoings. Stuff like that. You're just bearing false witness, right? You do these things without any regard, like it's nothing, right? For us as the Yasharal, us knowingly breaking commandments is a big deal. And I learned that from just from reading the Torah and reading Yashayahu and now starting to read Jeremiah, right? You could see that is a big deal to Yahuwah. Yahuwah withdraws himself away from iniquity, right? When he stretches forth his hand and he guides and protects you, it's under the Torah. It's under doing his will. If you purposely break it without any regard, without any real reverence, because he talk about them making false oaths, right? They saying his name out their mouth. They saying Yahuwah lives. And yet still they break the Torah daily. The priests used to do it, right? The prophets used to do it. And he withdraw himself from them and let certain calamities come upon them because he likened it to like a treacherous woman who is basically cheating on a man or left a man for another man, right? So when you start going away from the Torah, it's like you cheating on the covenant you have with Yahuwah, right? So us as the Yasharal, we have to be very, very mindful of this, right? We're not like the other nations who claim to be in church and living under grace, which is a Greek philosophy, right? When Yasharal is living under grace, it's because we're really trying to do our best, right? Because like for me, I know that there's certain things in the Torah that I'm not living up to fully. But my grace comes from within my heart. I'm trying my best to get to the point where I'm not breaking certain laws, statutes, and commandments, right? It's a different thing when you just, without regard, breaking the Torah rules, right? You have to strive. Your heart has to be towards Yahuwah to live upright, so he could dwell with you, so he could be around you, right? You can't live just anyhow. You have to live with the fear of Yahuwah, right? And sometimes the church likes to talk about the love of Yahuwah only, right? But there's also judgment and right ruling. So although there is forgiveness, right, you still have to be mindful that there is also judgment for certain things. There is right ruling for certain things. If you're out of bounds, you get penalized for that. And it's something I experienced personally, right? I don't know how these other people, like within church or whatsoever, I don't know how they experience Yahuwah, but I know for myself that I have experienced the judgment personally. And it couldn't be nothing else but Yahuwah, right? And I now have to turn and cry to him to forgive me for certain things, right? So, Yasharal, be fearful of Yahuwah. Love Yahuwah from your heart, for real. Don't just play these games. Don't just wear tassels or grow out your beard and appear to be righteous, and then within closed doors, or within the closed door of your mind, you're still operating under breaking the Torah, right? Because all of us have strange thoughts and stuff like that. But you always, when they come, you rebuke them. In the name of Yahushua Mashiach, Melech of Yasharal, Kohen forever. This is our high priest, our king. When these things come to you, rebuke it. Don't entertain certain thoughts. Don't do certain deeds, right? Walk upright and be a light to the nations. You know what I'm saying? Even if they see you going through strife, be upful, right? Because there are certain things I went through and you know, people asking me, yo, you all right, you all right? And I say, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Everything is good. Everything is blessed. Everything is barak, right? You have to live showing the light of Yahuwah, right? Even if Yahuwah might penalize you in front of them, right? Lift up your head and give thanks and praise to the Most High, and it will show through your actions, right? Like on work, sometimes I'm sitting down reading the Torah. People are observing this. They mightn't say anything, but they're observing, right? There was this guy on my job. His name is Isaiah, and I'm telling him here that this is the way your name really is. This is how it's pronounced. It's Yeshayahu, right? So you give knowledge, and you just, it's not like I'm forcing it on somebody, right? But if I see Yasharal and I get the word from the Ruach HaKodesh to say something or to minister to our brother, then I would do it in certain ways, because you have to be wise. Just giving them all the information at the same time, they mightn't be ready for it. It's like the book says, where you probably have to suckle on milk before you get like solid food, right? I can't just drop the Torah on them, because they wouldn't know how to take it, right? And then you risk pushing them away from it forever, right? So you have to be mindful of how you move as Yasharal. You represent a nation. You represent Yahuwah. So you have to walk a certain way, right? There's even I'm gonna tell you a story. That's something that's happening right now. I met a woman. A woman saw me, and she said I'm handsome and all this kind of stuff, right? So she started talking to me, right? And I start telling her, no, previously I would go into some kind of, like worldly kind of talk with her, right? You know what I mean, right? But I started telling her about who we are, right? Because she see, I think I can't remember exactly how I start telling her about who we are, but in tidbits, not really just going all out, right? So she keep kind of pushing the line about being attracted to me. So I tell her, okay, take my number. And when I text this woman, right, it's not under the orders of fornication and these kind of things. These things is not on my mind. To perform with any woman, I wouldn't defile myself like that. The next time I have a relation with a woman, it will be my wife, right? So I look at it as her attraction to me is an opportunity for me to show her she's a daughter of Zion, right? So today I text her and I say, hey, how you doing and stuff like that. And I told her, I said, listen, are you interested in following up on what we talk about? Because you said you was interested, right? So can I send you a video and maybe we could talk about it later, right? So she said, okay. So I sent her a video, right? And after that, she didn't respond. But you have to give people time to probably digest the information that they're getting, right? So any future communicate. No, I'm not going to go any further and reach out to her, right? When she watches this video, not this video, but the video I sent her, if she has questions or Yahuwah sparks something in her mind to ask more questions or want to communicate more, then we could go from there, right? And then all that stuff about attraction, I'll put that aside, because The purpose of it is for you to know Yahuwah, for Yasharal to wake up, right? So if I could get to pass on the message or wake up someone, that'll be a baraka to me, right? I'm doing some work for Yahuwah, right? So even this is some work for Yahuwah because it was on my spirit today to make this video. I didn't know exactly what I was gonna say, but whatever I'm saying right now is gonna reach whoever it has to reach. So Yasharal, be mindful, be fearful, and be loving towards Yahuwah. All right, y'all. Shalom.